you should all see a chart here for Apple stock. Now, this is the VantagePoint software, but before I go ahead and get into some of the indicators and things that you see on the screen here, this is the really fun stuff here. So what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead, and you can see I'll go ahead and type in Apple AAPL. We can type in the symbol, look for search, and it'll go ahead and open up our market tree here. But we can go ahead and right-click on the stock here and go ahead and view all of the intermarkets that go into generating the forecast, essentially the prediction that you're going to be able to use to make better trading decisions. Now, really think about this, guys. Like, how many guys here, I'm sure, have traded Apple in the past, but when you're making your trading decisions, deciding when you buy the market, when you're getting in, are you analyzing how the dollar index is affecting, how the Japanese yen, the euro, how these ETF markets, which are now, have a really big impact on individual shares and how they trade, are you analyzing how those market relationships are going to, push the probabilities in your favor, going to give you a much more, likelihood that you're going to see the type of move that you want. So you see here that we've got, commodity ETFs, the U.S. ETFs, technology, futures, energy markets, crude oil, and also some individual stocks. You see Dollar General, Chevron, Newmont Mining, Treasuries. So this is simply analysis that no one can do on their own on a daily basis every single evening with this level of consistent accuracy. So if you want to go ahead and start utilizing this technology to help you make better trading decisions, I mean, it doesn't take very long to really see, okay, this is definitely doing a lot more than I've been doing. So when you really think about your trading, what most people realize is that, look, I'm looking at a single market, probably using indicators that are only looking at past prices, and really leaving you, chasing markets that really trying to follow trends rather than anticipate them and make money in the markets consistently. So this is amazing, guys. You can go and check this out in any individual market. You can see those, 20, 25 to 30 intermarkets that go in to generate that forecast. So also remember, these are the two patents, identifying all these individual markets, but then weighing those very subtle relationships. A lot of these relationships lead, some of them lag, some of them become loose and stronger during different periods of time or depending on what other markets are doing. It's very important to have a tool, a type of artificial intelligence that's very important nowadays to helping people make better decisions in business, to help you make better decisions in your business of trading. So the other thing here too, guys, is when you have something that consistently forecasts markets, across a wide range of markets, that in itself is a huge advantage. It means that you can be very selective with the markets that you decide to trade. So VantagePoint's been able to utilize this technology on a huge number of markets. So we've got the U.S. stocks, and we've got all the individual sectors here with all these individual companies. But we also have the ETF group. So you got the U.S. ETFs, all your spiders, the diamonds, the Qs, SPY. So commodity ETFs, so if you have a brokerage account and want to participate in the commodities, you can do it via the ETF. Also Forex pairs, about 24, 25 plus currency pairs and cross pairs. So if you want to trade the major currencies like the yen, the euro, very important and really great trending markets there, as well as the futures market. So whether you want to trade energies, crude oil, wheat, soybeans, I mean, what it's going to allow you to do is take that accuracy of the software, and then I'm going to show you how all this works, but take that technology, take the accuracy that it provides and apply it to not only whichever market you're trading, but expand your horizons and be able to focus on where are my probabilities, where's the best market that I could be trading at this time, and we can use these, looking at different market correlations. I'll show you how we use the ETF markets and all the individual and also the individual shares to get more confirmation on these sorts of trades and those sorts of trade ideas. So, but going here in Apple, let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and leave this open. But what I want to do, I'm getting a lot of questions on, what is that green line at the bottom? I'm going to go through all of this with you guys here, so be a little bit patient here. But here we have a stock, Apple here. Now, I'm sure all of you have traded Apple at one point and another, or many of you have. But what I want to do is go through everything on the chart here so you understand what the software is doing. Now, this black line you see on your chart here, the black line against the price data. Now, that is a lagging moving average. It's really a simple moving average. So, if you understand a simple moving average, it's very basic, right? All it's doing is it's taking the last, 5, 10 close prices, averaging them together, and then plotting that line on the chart. Now, that's a lagging indicator because it's only looking at past prices. I mean, literally the data that, puts that value on your screen is only looking at past price, and therefore this isn't any information that the market doesn't have. It doesn't give you any sort of advantage or edge in the markets. Now, the blue line on your screen, though, that's VantagePoint's proprietary predicted moving average. Now, this is very important because what that blue line is doing is plotting where the market is expected to move. Now, if we're able to predict, out a point in time, so remember, we're plotting really a price point here, but once that blue line, so once the prediction or the, leading indicator moves above the black line, so that, information that's going to lag behind the market, it's always known by the market, it's telling you that there's a change in the overall trend. And, as a trader, this is important. This is your direction, guys. This is what's going to help you say, okay, well, should I be long in the market or should I be short? Sure, we're going to have up days, we're going to have down days, but what is the overall trend, and am I trading in line with that consistently and putting, just that factor alone on my side? Well, the whole point here is, when you have a tool that's able to lead the market, it's going to be able to improve your timing significantly. So what you want to do is make sure that whenever you see that blue line cross above the black line, you want to be getting into opportunities. And I'm going to show you actually how you can even scan for these opportunities and find all this stuff. But as long as that blue line remains above the black line, it's telling you that the market is expected to move higher. Now, I'm going to go ahead and we can see that, pretty much from the blue line being above the black line, you're getting a move of about 15% in about 42 trading days. But what I want to do is I want to build on this a little bit and explain this indicator here at the bottom of your screen, because this is so important. Now, a lot of traders, they've got tons of indicators on their screen, right? They've got 4 or 5 things. All of them, some of them are redundant and doing the exact same thing. It ends up just confusing. The whole point of this is by utilizing this technology, we can do something, in a much more simple but effective way. And, things don't have to be terribly complicated, when they're working and actually consistent. We actually have a huge benefit by keeping things quite simple. So what this green line here at the bottom of your screen here is, that is the VantagePoint Neural Index. Now, what that is a very short-term forecasting tool. It's really looking out 48 hours ahead. So essentially 2 candles, 2 trading days. And what it's letting you know is, look, our average price is likely to move higher over the short term. Now, all we really need to do as traders is combine our overall trend prediction, so, are we long or short the market, and tie that in with our neural index. So when you have an opportunity where that blue line crosses above the black line and your neural index is also confirming that move, it's saying, look, all that data that's come in, in the evenings, it's all being crunched. It's letting us know that the probabilities are that this market is expected to move higher, not only move higher the trend with our blue line over black line, but over the next 48 hours. So what it's going to help you do is anticipate short-term strength or weakness in the market, so you know exactly what to expect, and therefore can capture, really these longer-term moves in the market and make money instead of sacrificing a position far too early. So you can see here that we get this crossover to the upside, and if we actually look very closely, we see that our lines come together and pinch close together. But we actually never have our blue line cross below our black line, and that's very significant, guys. I mean, if you have a tool that's going to remain telling you, look, you want to stay long this market, you want to hold on to your position, and additionally, you see that your neural index, once it comes back up to a 1, so once it says, look, prices over the next 48 hours are expected to move higher, it's also indicating that the trend is still up. You want to be long this market, and sure enough, a huge rally in the market shortly thereafter. So, this is why it doesn't really matter a whole lot if you're a trend trader, if you trade options, if you're a day trader. I certainly want to know that if I'm a day trader, here's where I want to be getting long Apple. Here's where I want to be, getting aggressively long, knowing that, look, the trend is in my favor, and also the, short-term forecasting that's analyzing all those neural network relationships and let you know, look, over the next couple days, do you want to be a buyer or a seller in the market? Look more closely again here. We get the market trading a little bit sideways, but look at your neural index. Up for a couple days before anything happens much in the market, holds up at a 1, And again, really nice rally taking the market higher. So, another 5% over a few trading days there. But, if you're using the software, you've been in all the way since, 97 bucks a share or so. So the entirety of the move taking you up about 14%. But one last thing I want to go over, and I'm going to get to a few more charts here, but the subtleties are so important about this. You actually have, you have a crossover here. So you actually have a crossover to the downside here with Apple. But look at your neural index. So it's actually telling you there, look, there's a conflict here. Don't go ahead and short Apple. It's telling you, look, there's some short-term strength here in the market. And it isn't until this opportunity right here, after the crossover, where now it says, look, the trend is down. Now go ahead, start taking your short positions on the market. Now go ahead, take your profit, take that 14%, or just go ahead and short the market. And sure enough, as long as that blue line stays below the black line, you're going to hold that position for another 14% move to the downside. So, in the past, 3 or 4 months here trading Apple, if you've been trading, if you've been on the right side of the market consistently trading, and then we see recently, today, Apple closed up around 110.60, actually near early this predicted level that I'll go into a little bit more detail with you guys as well. But here, just over the last 7 trading days, about 7%. So, imagine trading the options or how many shares of Apple you can buy. It's a $94 stock, but certainly if you could buy 100 shares, that's certainly a good amount of profit, 650 bucks or so, with a really small position over just 7 trading days. So that's really the key, is getting these really great entries, improving your timing in the markets, and then being able to ride these longer term trends. Me personally, I love to just lock in a stop at break even and let these markets trend, because you're getting in at a good time in the short term, but understand, look, what's the overall direction in this market that I want to take advantage of. Now, I want to show you guys a little bit more closely how this works on a day-to-day basis for you, and how, moving forward through time, you're going to be able to use the software and understand, look, what is the software telling me? So I have here Acadia Pharmaceuticals. I'm going to tie this a little bit into, how you can really use these along with the ETFs to get a lot more confirmation. So, regardless of, what you're trading, I mean, that can be a very valuable tool for you. But here, very simple. Let's just stick with these 2 tools, understanding we want direction, and then we want to use this, 48-hour short-term forecast as far as our overall timing goes, and we can kind of roll this forward here. So we get a crossover to the upside saying, look, go ahead, get into the market. Market moves higher over the first trading day there, looks good. We get a little bit of a pullback here in the market, and our neural index goes down to a 0. Now, this is really important, guys. So, a lot of traders, what they do is they don't really know when to hold on to positions. So they end up getting really emotional in the market, getting out of trades when they really shouldn't. So candles like this tend to scare some, inexperienced traders or traders who really don't have the right tools. You actually see this is a 13% move lower from that high point. So, even if you got into the move, a 13-point decline is definitely, or 13% decline definitely gets people's heart rate up a little bit. But the consistency of the forecast is what's going to help you perform much better in the market. So you notice that, look, it says, look, you may get some short-term weakness in the market, but the trend is still up. So another trading day goes by, we get a little indecisive day, but still a lot of separation from your blue and your black lines, very important there. And your neural index goes back up to a 1. Now it's saying, okay, well, neural index up at a 1, trend up means where are we expecting this market to go? We're expecting it to move higher. Very simple, guys. As long as the blue line stays above the black line, expect the market to go higher, and simply use the neural index to help you understand when there may be some short-term strength or weakness. So what this indicator does, the neural index here, I see we're getting a few questions about it. Now, what this indicator does is it's looking out, again, it's a 48-hour indicator, so it's looking out 2 days ahead of time, and it's able to predict whether a 3-day simple moving average based on typical price, so it actually takes in volatility. It's looking at the high, the low, and the close. So the high and low and the close of that 3-day moving average, whether it'll be higher that 48 hours in the future or lower. And so this is what's called sort of a binary output. It can either be yes or no, right? So we can understand how accurate that indicator is, and it's consistently up to 86% accurate. So along with the information that goes into generating, our predicted moving averages that are going to give you a lead on changes in trend direction, this indicator is consistently accurate at helping you deal with that volatility and understand when you should hold on to a position. So this is a perfect example here in Acadia of, short-term weakness. Sure, you get a pullback, but not even close to a crossover to the downside. And you've got to hold on to these sort of opportunities because there's just so much money to be made over a short period of time. I mean, that's a 40% move in 3 trading days. So just that move alone on a $21 stock, I mean, how many shares could you have bought? And $8 per share, how much money is that going to make you? Most people, that's going to make them a few $1,000s. So pretty significant as far as, how are you making your trading decisions? And, are you actually, holding on to your winners like you should, but able to recognize when, okay, it's time to go ahead and get out of the market and take my profits and not give back unrealized gains, which is another thing that really hurts a lot of traders. But moving forward here, again, keeping this very simple, guys, you see again here with the neural index, we're getting some short-term weakness in the market. We're getting this low here that says, we're going to have to be aware that we're going to get that volatility, but the blue and the black line still quite separated. So, when you get this separation like this, it's telling you that that trend is really strong. I mean, when you're getting that separation, that's what that means. When it pinches closer together, it's telling you that that trend may be weakening, but still, you always want to trade in line with blue line over the black line. You want to be long, and then vice versa. So, but here we see trend still up, but a little bit of short-term weakness, a little bit of drawdown. But we want to go ahead and hold that position until, of course, our blue line gets below our black line. Not sure exactly when that's going to happen. See our blue and our black line pinching together more closely, getting a little bit of weakness from the neural index, going sideways, which makes perfect sense because saying, look, 48 hours, average price is moving down a little bit, low lows. But it isn't until right here. So right at that point, blue line crosses below the black line, about as clear as day, saying, look, trend over, go ahead and take your profits. In this example, we're looking at 65%, so $13 per share over 25 trading days. So about a month or so of time, maybe 5 weeks total, 6 weeks total. So the $20 stock making about $13 a share. But the only way, guys, that you're going to have the confidence is if you have a tool that can consistently consistently stay on the right side of the market, but also help you prepare for these sort of short-term volatility so you can stay in the trade, which is just critically important. Just want to roll this forward here. And exactly what we'd expect to see, right? Blue line below the black line. Neural index down at a 0, holding down at a 0. And look at this decline over a very, very short period of time. This is what you don't want to be hanging on to the market for if you're taking long positions. A 17% decline, another opportunity to go ahead and short the market. We see once we get our crossover about 14% or almost $5 per share. Very significant to go ahead and avoid markets that are getting ready to give back that sort of move. But more recently, and I'll go over some recent positions with you guys here, crossover to the upside, neural index up at a 1. How strong does this look, guys? I mean, it doesn't get more clear than that, saying, look, Acadia Pharmaceuticals is in an uptrend. The neural index is saying, look, prices are expected to move higher over the next 48 hours. There's nothing there to do but be long. And in 7 trading days, you're up another 18%. So, whether it's to the upside, whether the market's changing direction, you're going to have the tools, and more importantly, the tools that are utilizing the right approach of analyzing these global markets, utilizing modern technology of artificial intelligence to weigh these relationships, pick out those leads and lags so that you understand, hey, when should I go ahead and get into a market? Because that'll make all the difference. I mean, you can't make this 18% if you're trying to get in back here, get stopped out because your stops are too tight and things like that. So timing is absolutely critical to really reduce a lot of your risk in the market so that you can make a nice trade like here in Acadia. But what I want to go over is also, you forecast for so many markets using this approach. So you have a consistent forecast for not only Acadia Pharmaceuticals, but also the ETF that is going to trade in tandem with that. So I like looking at, if I see an individual stock, we actually have some scans that I'll go over with you guys. But if you have an individual stock, you can look at the ETF and get additional confirmation. So here I've got NASDAQ, the biotechnology shares, or the ETF here. And what I want to point out to you guys, though, is, look at what's happening at the same periods of time in these charts here, where you get this crossover. Actually, I should go ahead and put that, make sure we got the same time period here. All right, so, but you see, Acadia Pharmaceuticals, you got a neural index strongly up at a 1, but when this rally really took off and you got really the biggest part of this move, look at the biotech ETF. Same thing. So you say, look, I know the market's in an uptrend. I can look for individual shares that are going to match this ETF, and the exact same thing. So you can compare markets like this and make sure that absolutely everything is in tandem, knowing that, hey, I've got an accurate forecast for Acadia that's going to be up to 86% accurate most of the time. And then I also know that I'm going to be accurate on the biotechnology ETF. So let me make sure that all of this is completely in line. And additionally, on the downside move, how we can use this. Look at the neural index here on the ETF. Very, very bearish. You get your crossover saying, look, get out of the way. And you certainly don't want to be in the market for these 4 days where VantagePoint's saying, look, the trend is down. Your ETF group is saying the market's going down. Your neural index is telling you the market's going down. And when do we want to look to go ahead and maybe get back in Acadia Pharmaceuticals? Well, certainly not until we get that crossover, not until we see this neural index on our ETF getting bullish that says, look, go ahead, take your trades, allocate your risk, but you're going to have an approach and a tool set that's going to put those odds significantly on your favor. So, the software is really doing a lot of the heavy lifting for you. I mean, simply by using the forecast from Acadia Pharmaceuticals, you're going to understand how you want to trade that market. But when you can look at these, correlated markets and use this tool together, it's only going to help your odds, and it's only going to help you be a lot more confident with the trades that you want to take. And that, to me, is the biggest thing. Is you're not going to hold on to a position unless you're confident, and you're not going to become confident unless you are confident you can do things consistently. Otherwise, there's no reason to even be confident. So this is how you can really use the ETFs within the software, to really help you really identify individual markets that are going to have some really significant opportunities. Moving on, and I want to get through a couple of these things. This for me, I mean, I've gone through this whole process of being a beginner trader. I mean, if you go back not even 5 years through time, I didn't know what, a futures market, how the contracts work. I didn't know what the Forex market was. I didn't know how any of this stuff worked. But by simply, utilizing the software to make my trading decisions, learning as I go, you're able to expand into so many different markets and take advantage of just a lot of different opportunities. So, I use the software every single day. Every day I scan through these opportunities and really just pick out, where are the fresh crossovers happening, where are the fresh opportunities. But here's a couple of good opportunities here in Century. And this is actually recently, I just want to go through this one forward with you as well. Crossover to the upside, neural index up at a 1. And so you see this market moving higher to the upside. But, recently a lot of people have been real curious, right? It's like, okay, well, the stocks were, look like they may go lower. You may want to go ahead and, obviously over the past couple of days, everything went higher and you want to get long. But when you have a software that over a wide range of markets forecasts accurately to the upside and the downside, you can create situations where it's going to be very difficult for you to lose money. So in this situation, we have Century Aluminum here. And this was a great opportunity a while ago at the beginning of May here to go ahead and get short. So we have a crossover to the downside. Look how clear this forecast is. Clean crossover to the downside, neural index down at a 0. And this is the really exciting thing, is that, in addition to direction, in addition to your timing, and the blue line and our neural index here, VantagePoint gives you a predicted high and low. And this is just the most interesting part of this whole thing. We're using all these tools together to generate this forecast, right, to help us make better trading decisions. But, when you need to go in, hey, where do I want to be buying today? At what price level do I want to accept? When you're looking at something like an $8 stock, 20 cents here, 20 cents there makes a big difference, right? So what I want to show you guys is the predicted highs and lows. And this red line and this black line, all these lines are before the trading day happens. You have that. And as I roll this forward, you're going to see this. But see that crossover come through, and look, I want to be shorting up here at this predicted high, up around 820. You see we go forward the next day. We nail it right there at about 8. The next day up here about 780, 775. But we roll this forward, and you can see that every trading day you're getting a range that's going to help you make these better trading decisions on how you want to go ahead and trade the market. So in this scenario, this for me is not hypothetical. I'm short Century. And this has been a phenomenal opportunity. 16 trading days, about an 18% move lower, and we haven't gotten that crossover yet. So all of my position isn't out completely yet, but I've already taken profit on this move, trading in line with these forecasts. So that's what I mean by you can go ahead, take your positions, take some profit, and then as long as that blue line stays below the black line, hold out for that longer term trend. This is going on right now in the market. Jable. Blue line over black line, about as clear as day right here. So when we're running all these scans, which I'll show you really shortly here next, cross over the upside, look at these predicted high and low levels, saying, look, try to buy some here down at 17. Well, you buy some down at 17, we're closing at 1860 plus today, something like that. 5 trading days, about a 9%, $1.50 on a $17 stock. So whether you're going long, whether you're going to go short, if you want to hedge yourself to make sure that regardless of what happens in the market as far as stocks go, you've got a position long or short, this is what's going to help you do that and create a really broad portfolio and using the same strategy and the same approach. So you're not going to have a different approach for trading commodities or trading this stock and that stock. It's going to be the same so that you can apply this technology and the accuracy to a wide range of markets, including the currencies and the Forex markets and things like that. You see, here's the Australian dollar, US dollar. Hey, cross over the downside. Where do we want to short the market? Well, these predicted highs are great levels to go ahead and take your shots. So for Forex traders, if you day trade, and you absolutely have to know, where those leads and the lags are happening so that you can understand, hey, should I be accepting these price levels today? Should I be trading this market long or short? And in the Forex markets, it's absolutely unbelievable the types of profits that can be made. This is a 513 pip move in about 23 trading days. So a standard lot, which you could hold for maybe $1,000 or so, making about $7,000 on a single trade thus far. So I want to go ahead and that's how the software works, guys. Keep it simple. The software is really doing all this heavy lifting. Utilize technology, again, artificial intelligence, to do this sort of analysis. It simply does it better than you as a human are going to be able to do it. So, how do we do this every night, guys? How's this work, right? So, inside of VantagePoint, there is a scanning feature. It's actually called IntelliScan. And what it enables really traders to do is minimize the length of time and duration needed to find these opportunities. So every evening, all you simply need to do is bring up your IntelliScan, bring up your portfolios. You can set these things up to scan the market long, scan short. But really briefly here, I'll go ahead and go through this with you and show you how quick this is. So I've opened up an energy sector here. I see I've got these all split up by really the overall sector. But let me go ahead and clear some of this out. So here's all the energy stocks here, and you see we get a lot. We got Anadarko, Cabot, Chesapeake, all the good energy companies, some pipeline companies, things like that. But what we can do is filter out our crossovers by utilizing the IntelliScan feature here. So we can switch that to a 1 because we only want to look for 1 day fresh crossovers from the software. Let's say we want to go long the market's a medium-term cross. Let's make sure that that's crossing to the upside. And just like I showed you guys, neural index, we want that matching as well, right? Well, here we've gotten about 55 scans, so 55 companies we've scanned through. It's found about 15 opportunities for us to focus on. So this is what's key, guys, is that you can go ahead and modify these portfolios. So you can go in here, change this to energy. Change it to energy. Let's go ahead and put long since we've set it up for long positions. We can go ahead and click save here, save the portfolio, and literally with just a click of the mouse. So you saw that only took about 2 minutes to go ahead. I have an entire sector scanning for these fresh crossovers, fresh opportunities to go ahead and take trades. But just a simple click, so you can set this up, go to your financials, go to your technology, scan for those opportunities, and it's going to save exactly like you've set it up. So, I mean, literally 5 to 10 minutes a night. I mean, I trade the futures in the evening. I sit down before my girlfriend gets home, go through all the futures markets. It takes 5 to 10 minutes. Then you go ahead, and in the morning I get up, I do all my stock stuff. That takes another maybe 20 minutes because I'm scanning, literally hundreds of opportunities. But simply picking out these opportunities, say, hey, this looks best, and identifying things like Century Aluminum, things like Jabil, these clear opportunities where the software is saying, look, now's the time you should go ahead and get involved with XYZ market, but it's based off of the technology. It's not based off of recommendations and all this other stuff. You're going to have an approach and a tool that's going to help you be a lot more successful in the market to make much, much better trading decisions really consistently.